my way around the Google. There we go. Okay, are y'all seeing me and Elliot's smiling faces? Elliot's actually smiling in one of them.
I
Normally
had
he
one
looks
where
like,
I had one where I wasn't, and I'm like, Hannah's gonna give me crap if I put that one up, so I'm gonna put the smiling one up.
oh my gosh, it is often so much. I'm like, literally, why do you have to look so sad though? So, okay, welcome. I am Hannah Hembree Bell. I'm so glad that you are all here. You're here to talk about non-attorney sales in family law firms. As part of the way that you can become the CEO of your law firm. So now's your chance to like run if you're like, what is this? What are we even talking about? And Elliot, you're in charge of the waiting room, right? Because I see people in there.
I am not. You're the host. I can't see it.
Oh, okay, y'all, hang on a minute.
Um,
Okay.
can
Maybe
you
View.
the
see if Parker
co-host.
Taylor? Oh, there's Taylor Williams.
Elliot, can you just remove the waiting room? Because I don't think I can manage that. Because right now, this PowerPoint is on this whole other screen, and I don't know how to, I don't know how to make it
And
where I
do
can
you want
see
to
everything.
share again, and then I'll just uh
Okay. Yeah, hang on, everybody. Because I don't want to get it like where it's the whole screen. I hate that. Whatever. Okay, I'm gonna share again. So now you just did away. All right,
yeah.
cool. Whatever. We'll figure this out here, everybody. Okay, now y'all can see it. Cool. All right. So yeah, if you're just joining us, that would be amazing if you were able to come on camera. If you're not, that would just makes it all the more fun for everybody. So that would be super great if you didn't mind. And all right, so we're here to talk about non-attorney salespeople in family law firms. And this is part of a series that Empirical 360 is doing on becoming the CEO of your law firm. And some of you may be like, I already am. And others of you may be like, how do I do that? So, this, I think you'll find something for everybody, whether or not you're in that position. But I think it'd be a good idea first. Can everybody put in the chat, where are you joining us from? Like what city, what state, where are you guys? Where are we all? Let me know that in the chat just real quick. Okay, so we've got some Florida, Lexington, North Carolina. Ooh, South Lake. Okay, cool. Hello, fellow Texan. We got any other Texans on here today? Don't know. West Virginia, um, Illinois. Okay, yeah, fair, Adam. Yes, thank you. That gives it a lot more context. Cool. All right. Well, another question for y'all. Who on this call is, and if you're a team member and not like the lawyer, so this may not be as relevant for you, but who is still stuck in the day-to-day of your firm? Just say me in the chat if that's you. Can you put me in the chat? We're probably not alone. If we're still in the day-to-day, are you still doing cases? Are you still doing consults? Are you, barely squeezing in this 1 hour amidst 25,000 other things to do today? Okay, we've got several me's who are in the middle of that. Okay, right. So you're not alone in this feeling. I think probably most of us are still there. So that's okay. Cool. That's good. What about who wants to be the CEO of your firm, where you're still aware of the day to day, you're still leading, you're still managing, you're still casting vision, but you're not necessarily in the weeds doing the consults, all that. Yeah. If you want to say me, or if you want to maybe put your favorite emoji or CEO. Yeah. Brian's like CEO. In my mind, I'm like, oh. That's what I heard in my head as we're doing that, Brian. So me. All right. Look, so you've come to the right place. Empirical's put on a thing, a series of these. I think there's going to be several. Don't worry if you didn't come to the other one. It was a lot about numbers. But basically, if Empirical's putting it out, you want to be attending it, in my opinion. I mean, I'm here today, so I guess I would think that. Hopefully, you'll think that after today. But they're trying to help you to become that. And the goal today is that you leave with some of your thoughts broken. I mean, you're here enough where you're like, hey, how would non-attorney sales? I don't know about that, but I've seen a lot about it. Let me see what the deal is. So my invitation to you is, and lawyers were naturally skeptical, naturally like, wait, there's some BS, there must be some trick. Here's every problem with everything you're going to say. And you're thinking of all your objections in advance. Okay. I get that. I have a part of my brain that's like that. But what I'm going to invite you to do is just kind of set those to the side for this next 45, 50 minutes that we're together. All right. Just put them to the side for a minute. Just try to hear me out, hear this concept out with open ears and an open mind. And who knows, you might find something that could really improve your life. I think I've attended a bunch of these webinars where I leave and I'm like, meh, meh, that was a waste of time. There was nothing good in it. And I could have just eaten my lunch, not on the camera. I'm always eating lunch on the camera. Um, but my hope is you'll walk away with some actionable things to do, and you're gonna want to hang around for the end, because at the end, Empirical and Elliot have put together a pretty cool offer that is free that you are going to want to be able to sign up for. And the way you get the link is staying to the end, because I know y'all might be like, oh, I think I know everything this little gal has to say. I got to go. So hang on till the end to get that. Now, here is the agenda of the steps of what we're going to talk through. So if you want to look, you can read slides, but just to kind of give you a sense and a flow of what we'll be covering today, a little bit about me and what I've done as one case study, as one example of how this can work, a little bit about what you're missing out on if you don't do it this way, and then what it would kind of look like and what results are possible for you, just based on what I've seen and Elliot has seen in their practice, and then a little bit about how you actually do the thing. Okay, so we'll get into some of that as well. Now, a little bit about me. If I'm y'all, anytime I go to one of these talks, I'm like, why should I listen to you? What is the deal with you? I don't even know. Now, so just, and I'm not a bragger in life in general, but so these are not here to like brag. It's just to kind of give you some context of who you're listening to. So I've started my firm in 2018. And it was me and my sister basically at our kitchen table, but she lived far from me. So like our remote kitchen table, have, theoretical kitchen table. And now I have 60 something employees at the firm, and growing all the time. By end of, I guess, next week or so, I think the last one starts on the 13th. I'll have 17 lawyers with an offer out for someone else starting in August. And I didn't have anything close to that before I started doing non-attorney sales. When I met Empirical 360 and started working with them, I don't inconsistently like 7, 8, 9 new families a month were coming into I don't really call them cases. I know this like talks, we call them new families. I'm going to give you that gift. I suggest at your own firm, you don't talk about them like cases. You talk about them like families, because they are, and it helps keep the personalization and keeps the compassion and heart in what we do. It's not just a case. We're not PI lawyers who like talk about shuffling cases. Okay. So we have 80 new families now coming into the firm a month on a consistent, regular basis. And it didn't happen that way overnight, but it happened pretty quickly. And it's possible for you too. I mean, they'll say like results not typical, but these sorts of results happen with people who work with Empirical and who work in some of these structures that we're going to talk about today. I went from having my sister do the intake, like y'all, one of my very first clients, I think he was actually my very first client who wasn't a referral from a friend. Do you know, like that first new client? You everybody remember that first new client that you ever got when you started your firm, right? And he later told me in person that he thought me and my sister were punking him because she was intake and I was the lawyer. And he said we sounded so much the same. He thought I was just tricking, like, oh, here's the intake. I'm Sarah. And then, oh, I'm Hannah, the lawyer. So anyway, it's just kind of funny. And now we've got a team of 9. I have 2 people who are in the Philippines, who are like my setters, like the chaser, go-getter gals. And then everybody else is here in the US, just to kind of give you a context of the team. So I say all that to say, I've learned a thing or two. There's a lot of things I don't know, but I've learned a couple things about doing this along the way that I'm happy to share with y'all, and also just give you a little bit, hopefully, of a picture of what could happen for you in the future. All right. And why, you might listen to me on this topic. So where I was when I first met with Empirical and just started the firm, I was doing every single consult myself. We did paid consultations, but I discounted off my hourly rate. So you could get an hour with me for $250. And then I was like, along the way, wait a minute, this is the best hour of the entire case. Like the most happens in this hour. And I'm doing it on a clearance bin price. Like what am I doing? That is ridiculous. And then also put in the chat, if this has been you, put your favorite emoji in the chat if this has been you. Who has done a consult where you just went off telling them your case strategy and how this was going to go. And then a week or two or a month later, you learn some new facts that maybe that house wasn't really deeded to them after all. Or really, that was an inheritance or a gift, like they said. Put an emoji in the chat if that's happened to you. And you realize in that 1 hour that you did a consult, you were speaking out your honey bow because you didn't have enough information to do that consult, right? I think that's a problem with lawyers doing consults is we fill in a lot of gaps. Okay, only a couple of y'all. We've got 4 people. That's only happened to 4 or 5 of y'all. Okay. Anyway, oh no, my slides went away. Sorry. Are they back? Can you see them again?
We can see him.
Okay. Cool. I can't, but we'll figure that out. Anyway, and what I found was it's hard for us as lawyers because we like to save the day and we like to be smart and we like to solve problems. And what happens in that first hour is you're telling everything there is to tell, but without knowing everything there is to know. And so I think that's one of the risks that we're in when we do lawyer consults. And good luck trying to train anybody in your office not to do it that way because it makes them feel good because you like to come in and save the day. And, we have to do some triage and get some strategy, of course. But I think that one of the indirect benefits is you get out of that spot. Okay. Oh, there we go. Now, what started happening is I was introduced to the concept of non-attorney sales. And y'all, one of the reasons why I've been able to grow the firm like I have and do some of the things I've been able to do is I do not fight good ideas as a person. I realize this is new for me in a sense of like, as a lot of my lawyer colleagues, they are bullheaded and stubborn. And they will have good information and good ideas in front of them and still argue with it and still keep being like holding the hot coal in their hands and be like, it's not hot. And you're like, it's literally hot and burning you. And they're like, but it's not hot, kind of an idea. I don't do that. I do not fight with good information as a general rule. So I got introduced to this idea and I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me. There's only so many hours in a day. I'm also lawyering and trying to be a mom of 4 kids and all this other stuff. How am I ever, I can only ever grow so much if it's all on me. And so my very first non-attorney salesperson was my sales rep on a tech product. And he lived in New York City. Yeah, New York City. Yes. And in talking with him, the end of the day, I kept up with him after this call. He was applying for a promotion at that job that for my reasons, he didn't get. He's like the perfect example of sometimes it works out when you don't get what you want, right? And then he ended up relocating from New York City here to Austin and working with me. And it's kind of crazy that he did that. I think he would still say it was a very, very good decision, but that's how I got started. And the way I started this was there was not in my life at that time an Empirical 360 bringing in the leads, the new potential families. There was not sales floor that Empirical does and trains people every single day and gives sales and intake coaching. There was none of that. It was just me and his name's Kyle, me and Kyle figuring it out. And so this is one thing. This is your practical takeaway. If you do this, you have them see one, you doing what you do. Then they kind of do one that you watch. And then that's how you do it. I mean, there's like the best way to do it, the perfect way to do it. And then there's the other way to do it. And I don't get stuck on, I can't do it perfectly. It's like, well, this is how I did it. Maybe it's not the best, but it got me started. That's how I did it at the time. And then now I've got 9 people on the team. So that's a bit about me and the whole thing. Now, if I'm you and I'm listening to this, I've got 4 main things that would come up, I think, for me, if I was like inclined to argue with good ideas. And so let's talk through each one of those so we can get that part of your brain to kind of chill. This is against the bar rules. You don't understand my state, Hannah. It's never going to go for it. Okay. That's never going to happen. Here's the thing. Number 1, I cannot give you legal advice in your state about ethics. Okay. Obviously. Now, what I can tell you is my survey of stuff and my understanding is what most states care about is that these people are not giving legal advice. Okay. Because they are not lawyers, obviously. But the thing is, this person in your team is not going to give legal advice. They don't even know what to say. They don't know how to tell them about hearsay and the way that their deed is, whether or not that's going to get admitted or not at court. Okay. They can't do it. And you'll make sure that they don't. Because what they're doing is they're selling the sizzle, not the steak. You're the steak. They're selling, right? Okay. So what they're doing is in these conversations, they're making the person, the way we say it at our firm is we want the person on the other end of the phone or the Zoom or the in-person to feel heard, helped, and believed in. That's just, it's cute, right? Because it's my initials. Heard, helped, and believed in. So we want that other person. That's the goal of this call, is that the person who's called in feels heard, helped, and believed in. What we say all the time is that caller, that person in the one of the worst moments in their life, with the most stressful situation, they may be about to lose their house, their kids, their job, their money. They don't know how they can pay their bills, et cetera. And they call your office. And a lot of y'all, you know what you say? Law office. Consult would be $500. Do you got money? Yeah, okay. She can talk to you in 3 weeks. What do you want? Yeah, okay, call back. And y'all are just lucky I'm not in your city. No offense, because I would kick your booty. Because we don't do it like that. Because we know that every person calling our office, the feeling they're searching for is relief. Did you know that? Just think about it for a second. You know why you're on this call? Ultimately, because you're seeking some relief. You want to feel just a little bit better. That's relief is the feeling that you're searching for. Okay. And you may not be in the most down and out moment of your life calling a divorce lawyer to say, like, how do I leave my abusive husband? Okay. But a lot of them are. So what you're doing is helping them feel some relief that this person's doing, not you, the non-attorney, some relief, helping them feel like you can help them, that you hear them, and that you believe in them. And then what they do is they explain, hey, our firm has helped thousands, hundreds, dozens, whatever the number is, of people in situations just like yours. And oh my gosh, I have to tell you about these lawyers. They are amazing. Let me just tell you about Allison. Allison is a fantastic attorney. She has been doing blah, 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 blah. And our process really walks you, and they'll say, well, what's going to happen in my case? Oh, your legal team will talk with you about that. All right. I'm not a lawyer, and they're very clear up front. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to be giving you legal advice. But what I am going to be doing is gathering some information for free, so that then I can communicate that to the lawyer before you ever have to pay $1, so that we can make sure that we understand what's going on, make sure that we can actually help you, and make sure that you're a good fit for our firm and we're a good fit for what's going on in your life, right? And y'all, at our firm, with 80 new families coming in a month, I would say 98, 97% of the people who come through the door never talk to a lawyer before they actually retain us. You would think they would. You'd be like, BS. I mean, I'm not a liar. You can probably feel that I'm not a liar. I'm not a liar. What good would it be to lie to you? It's just that us lawyers, we would never hire our divorce lawyer without talking to them. But we're lawyers. They're not. They just want to know, can you help them? Do you give a about them and their kids and stuff? Are you trustworthy? Like they got to you from some Google reviews or referral or something. Something made them already call. So there's a level of belief in you before they've ever called. All right. Now, some of the other objections, they're not going to be as good as me. Maybe. But these are going to be salespeople. They may be like 1,000,000% better than you, no offense. Most of y'all are probably not that good at sales. Is anybody a lawyer in here who thinks they're good at sales? You can just raise your hand. Any lawyers in here thinks, oh, Sharon, Sharon. All right. Hey, some of us are. I am very good at sales naturally. If I would have ever found business development or marketing for law firms before I became a lawyer, I wouldn't have done it. It would have got me. Because all sales is helping people. And I really like to help people. And I can just explain it in a way that they'll listen to me. Usually that's why I'm good at sales. It's not because I'm a tricker. I'm not a manipulator. It's just like I tell the truth in a way that other people will hear me. That's what I think makes you good at sales. So they can even be better than you. But let's just say, look, y'all, let's say that you, and Elliot's going to walk y'all through some numbers in a minute. But yeah, maybe you close people at 40, 50%. And they close people at 20%. But you can only take so many calls in a day. And you cost a lot more money than them. You see what I'm saying? So it just adds up quickly. So because you're going to be the bottleneck of your firm. If you want to be the CEO, and you don't have a non-attorney salesperson, you are the bottleneck of your firm. And other lawyers who are not you, I guarantee you, are not going to be nearly as good at sales as you are, because this is not their firm. They don't care the same in the same ways that you do. No offense to them. Now, you might find a unicorn who is a salesperson and a lawyer, but usually they know it and you're going to have to spend a lot on it. And then you want that person doing something else, not spending their time doing the sales in this situation. Because you can find someone for sub $100,000 to do this. You're not gonna be able to find many lawyers for sub 100K anymore, depending on where you live and all the things. What if they sign clients my attorneys won't want? They might every once in a while. Remember, we're not going to let perfect be the enemy of good. Sometimes that happens. But just because something might happen someday, one day, at one point, does not mean that it's a reason not to do that thing. All right. Just because at some point in the future, something might get a little bumpy is not a reason to never start. I mean, can we agree on that? But I think so many of us miss out on basically all of our lives because of that. Because we're afraid that at some point in the future, there may be a hitch in our giddy up. There'll be a hitch in your giddy up. I'm just going to tell you. But at least you're giddying upping, okay? You're galloping instead of sitting still, which a lot of y'all have been. And the other thing is you will iterate and work on this. And look, we had literally a conversation this morning, me and Ashley from our team is on here. And we had a conversation this morning about a few clients that the sales and intake team allowed into the firm that they shouldn't have. And we dealt with it. We understand the leadership on the legal team understands the role of the intake team. It's a yin and yang, and you can teach people how to handle this. And that's part of what Empirical is really good at helping you get a checklist of things to look for. What sort of people are a good fit for your firm? What sort of people are not a good fit for your firm? Okay. So that can be done. Last one, your current team is going to push back. They might. But you know what? They probably pushed back when you said, I'd like you to actually bill your hours, please. If I say it nice, will you do it? If I give you money, will you do it? If I give you a pizza party like the kids? And they might, you can work with them on that same thing. You can help them see all the things that they get back by not having to be the one at sales. Probably most of your lawyers, if you're making them do consults, they hate it. And they think it gets in the way of doing all their other legal work. Some of them may love it. I mean, look, you may have a unicorn, and then maybe they need to be on your intake team, not your lawyer team. Okay, you can think about that. But how getting each new client through a non-attorney salesperson saves them a lot of time and energy. Consults take a lot of energy. Y'all know how it feels when have you ever done 3, 4, 5, 6 in a day? And you are beat and you are ready for a Miller Lite when you get home. Lawyers doing that and then turning around and getting on a call about a protective order. That is not fair. That's too hard. It's too hard for you. You deserve better. In case that's you deserve a better life experience than that. And finding someone who's suited and their job is built around doing that versus you having to code switch between all of those roles at once. It's too hard on you. And you can set this up in such a way that the attorneys are going to sign off on all the retainer fees. That's another thing bars care about is having the lawyers approve, and quote retainers and stuff. You can structure it in a way, okay, that does all of that part. All right. So that's your objections. If you have more, we can maybe if there's time at the end, talk about them, but that's kind of the main ones that come up. But now what we want to share with you a little bit is what this could unlock for you. And this talks about a lot of data and numbers, and Elliot's very good at that. And I'm only a B-. So I'm gonna let Elliot explain this part for us. Okay.
If there's ever a break where you're bored with math, this is it. So you can go grab some food. But this is really important, right?
No, this is the money. Do not leave. This is the important part.
We don't do math. I know. I tried to really keep it simple, Catherine. All right. So on the left-hand side, this is assuming the attorney is doing the consults for free, which actually there are some of you on here who are doing this, and I applaud you. This is assuming 10 consults a week, right? The average consult length, even if you schedule it for 45 minutes, it's going an hour, right? We know this. This is also assuming you're going to follow up, which is a big problem because attorneys don't have a ton of time to do this. But let's assume we are following up. It's going to take about 15 hours a week. Now, if you plug in your own hourly rate here, you can come up with a number of how much opportunity cost you're leaving on the table. In this example, at a $400 hourly rate, it's $300K a year that you're not billing. Now, here's the caveat to this, really the addition. If you have other attorneys at the firm doing this same thing, then you multiply that by the number of attorneys. And very quickly, this can be $1 million problem. Now, on the right-hand side, the swing in net income is quite large. This is a non-attorney salesperson doing it. So they can handle up to 25 or more consults per week, but 25 is a really safe number. Those are going to last about 45 minutes. They're going to follow up about 15 minutes, right? They're going to be more in the flow. It'll be easier for them. Depending on your state, that's what they could cost, right around 6 figures. The good ones, that's what they want to get paid. And they're going to save you that many billable hours. So you have a swing in equity of 200K, right? Very, very big deal if you're the attorney doing the free consults. If you're doing—
Does that math make sense, y'all? Like
Yeah.
how they's coming up with that? What you could have billed if it was you, and then what they could accomplish when they're doing, you're not doing 25 consults a week. Y'all are not, right? Even if you're doing the consults, I really doubt it. So that gives them more at-bats, more opportunities to bring in more people. So that's why the number can be bigger. Does the math make sense? Shake your head, yeah.
One thing too, because I've talked to a lot of you on this call, some of you are doing that many consults a week, and you're also being a lawyer and so yeah, it's tough, right? It's very, very hard. So Brian said, yeah, that's me. Yeah, you're not alone, Brian. There's many on this call who are in that same boat. So next slide, this is a little more nerdy. So I'm going to prep you with some definitions. In all of your firms, you all get leads, right? So somebody calls. From there, people will book an appointment. Then they will show up to the appointment, and then they will close. Now, the metrics that we have here are metrics that we've taken from hundreds of firms across the US, and they hold true in any state. But on the left-hand side, we're doing an attorney paid consult. So this is at least the better version of what we just saw on the last slide. But typically in a paid consultation, you'll have 100 leads, for example, and 10% of them will actually decide to pay you your consult fee. From there, we're going to assume that 100% of them show up. And we're going to assume that you're a good closer and 40% of them will close. So if we get 100 leads and we get 4 new clients, we're going to say that they're worth $10,000 a piece. You're going to make $40,000 in that month. Everybody get this so far? Put yes in chat if you follow my math so far. Put no if you want me to re-explain it. Yes, yes. Okay, good. So far.
Yeah, fair.
Now, on the right-hand side, this is actually the model that Hannah's about to walk us through, right? This is called a free case evaluation. They call it an FCE. So this is with a non-attorney salesperson. It's a 45-minute conversation. The same 100 leads come into the firm, except now this thing is free. So 70% of the people will take you up on this offer. Now, not all of them are going to show up, unfortunately, because it's free. And so they don't value it as much. That's a little bit a part of the deal. The show rate would then be 80%. It can be higher, but let's just say 80%. And then they're not as good as you. We've established that. Sometimes they are, but let's say that they're not. And they're going to close 25% of those people that they talk to. At the same $10,000 case value, that funnel will produce $140,000 in revenue as opposed to $40,000.
For the same number of leads. Does that make sense? For the same number of people, $100,000 more is available. And these are like rough numbers of getting 100 people calling the firm. That's 25 a week. And the average case value of 10, there's $100,000 in just switching from paying a lawyer, to do the consult and doing it for free. Okay. Thanks, Elliot, for help with the math part. Now, some of y'all are wondering, like, okay, what does this conversation actually sound like? If it's because I go in there and be like, tell me what's going on. And then I explain to them how you filed for divorce. And then there's discovery and you need to move out or you don't need to move out and temporary orders and whatever. So let's think that through a little bit. Now, this is gold. You should be screenshotting this. The 5 keys to conversion. All right. And this is the way that we do it at our firm. And the most successful firms do it this way. And it is nothing like the way you're doing it. I would be willing to bet like $100,000. You're going to get the points of clarity, commitment, urgency, options, and then the close and making their decision. So what this looks like is helping the person get clear on where they are now. What does life look like now? That's them telling their story. You're getting them to get their story out, right? And then you kind of reiterate like what they're saying, what's happening, and getting that potential new client's commitment to how committed they are to doing something about this. Like, okay, you've shared with me that, you're really not happy. You haven't been for years. The kids are starting to see it. They're struggling in school. You really are not willing to live another decade of your life this way, etc. How committed are you to doing something about this? Because what you're trying to figure out is, are they just like playing around? Are they just tire kicking? Are they just shopping? Like, what's going on? But trying to get them in their own words to commit to not letting the status quo be the thing. All right. It's this kind of energetic thing that happens. And then you're trying to figure out, all right, you're going to do something about this. How ready are you to do it? Like you told me that your kids are in danger. And you said that I was really important to you and that you are committed to making sure they aren't. How quickly are you ready to get something going? Like, and you're looking for now or soon. But if they're like, I don't know, I'm just going to, okay, you know what? Let's schedule a time for in a month. When they can kind of come back when they are ready. But the thing is, y'all, they called the law firm. They stopped their life. They made the time. They Googled something. They got to you somehow. They got a problem. They got an urgent problem. All right. And your people will help them to see that. And then what happens is they lay out, here are the paths. You can do this yourself. You can do nothing. But I don't think you want to do that because you already told me it's kids safe, all that. You can do this yourself. There are some resources out there, but what I see, explain to them why that's not a good idea. Or you can have a lawyer help you. And we've talked, I'll tell you a little bit about our firm and here's the deal and why I think it should be our firm. But also there are other firms who could help you if for some reason you don't think we're the best fit, right? And then you get them at the end to the decision point. Like, okay, have I given you enough information on this call where you're ready to make a decision about your path forward? Like, oh, well, no. Okay, let me know. Where else do you need some clarity? How else can I help support you? And then you're going to try to close them right there on that phone call. Okay, you're ready? Ready to do it? Sounds like a good firm. Great. Let me grab, we got to get a little bit of paperwork and stuff filled out. Let me grab your credit card information so we can get you started. And let's look, when are you available to do at our firm your initial strategy? I've got some time next week I think that you'll be matched with whatever lawyer, with Patrick. He's got some time on his calendar on Tuesday at 11 and 1. I'd love to go ahead and place a hold. When can you? Okay, great. Let me get that hold on there. We just got to do the paperwork. Here's that. Let's pull it up real quick. You ready to sign? I can do the Dropbox. I mean, there's different ways to do this. Give it to you right now. I'll give you the link, DocuSign link to get it done. And then let's get this credit card information. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. It sounds like, wait, what? Sounds nothing like my consults. Exactly. None of that is legal advice. They're not actually wanting the legal advice. You think they are. No, they're not. No, they're not. They don't give a hoot about how it happens. Don't even bother with how the sausage is made. For most clients, y'all, there's some level up here of people who are used to dealing with lawyers and they know what discovery is and depot. It's a different kind of conversation. And that you may treat a little bit in a different way. But 98% of folks, all they need to know is that you care, you trust them. I mean, they can trust you, that you care, and that you're competent enough to take care of their problem. They're calling you, they assume you are competent enough to do it. Google says you're a good lawyer. The end. They think all lawyers are all Supermans and Superwomens and that we know everything and what to do. When they call you, they assume you know how to do law things. Okay?
One thing too, Hannah, so for the people thinking, because I'm reading minds here, I've seen these faces. If ever they will not do something, the trump card is always, I will sell you a strategy session. So can you talk about that, Hannah? What is that?
Yeah. So if somebody's on this call and they're like, who are you, Missy? I am not hiring a lawyer without having talked to the lawyer. Like, hey, totally understand that. There's some strategies to get them to go ahead and do it. But if not, okay, no problem. We have a mechanism for that. What we can do is get you set up for a legal strategy session. And that's where an attorney that we're thinking is a good fit for you from our team. And you can have what other firms might call like a paid attorney consult. You can visit with them an hour. I think, sell them in half hours and like little smaller increments now. And that's at our firm, I think it's $500 to do a legal strategy session. And they can have reviewed some documents and go over some of the strategy and how we'd lay that out. Does that sound like a good option to you? Yeah, sure. Well, I don't want to pay any money. I mean, you're getting a lawyer's time. They're reviewing all your documents. Like, it just does cost money. And any law firm that's not that, well, this other firm down the street, their lawyer will look at my papers for free. Then I suggest you go talk to them. They'll do it for free. Woo. I mean, one of my questions is, how can they do that? Like, how do they have time? I mean, I have some other questions. Here's some things I might suggest you consider when talking with them. But yeah, you should. Why don't I make a note to call you back in a week and see how that went? Okay, the key is going to be, and I don't know if that's on my next slide. Let me go. The key is at that meeting, you're going to get a yes or a no or a new meeting booked. Let me introduce y'all to the concept of BAM FAM. Book a meeting from a meeting. BAM FAM. I just love that. The goal of this person is going to be to either get a yes or a no or a next meeting booked. Every single person. And if you're on the team of the Crosons, and I think some other people, Catherine had some team, if you're in the role of intake or sales, you better not get off that phone call without your next action booked, or you've thrown it away. And so you say to them, hey, okay, well, I've got to talk to my mom and my daddy. I got this, I got that. I got 14 more consults I got to do, whatever. Okay, great. I'm so excited you're doing that. This is a very important decision. You have to make sure that the firm you choose is the right fit for you. So what I'd love to do is circle back around with you to make sure that you have all the things you need, see if I can be of any support or help. Do you have any time on Thursday? I've got 9:15 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. available. Does either one of those work for you? Like, do not get off the phone until you book the next meeting, because that's how you keep the conversation going. People want to make their commitments. They want to fulfill their word. They told you that they're going to have a meeting with you. Now they may flake on you, but they're going to feel bad about it. And then you can be like, hey, sorry, I know we're on this call. Are you able to jump on? Or, hey, and then if they don't show, hey, can we get you scheduled for tomorrow? Right? That's how it keeps them going. Lawyers, y'all do not have time for this. You're not going to do that. You're not going to set the next meeting and then chase them. And then when they didn't show up. So that's how you build out this team, y'all. Think about every time you've ever been sold a car, a hot tub. Golly, the girl at Alice and Olivia, the store, woo, she should do classes. She follows up. She never relents. She never stops. She never stops telling me when something's on sale. Like that kind of follow-up, they get trained to do. Empirical does, I don't know if y'all know that. They do that where you can meet every single day and have conversations just like this, which is pretty awesome if you ask me. But anyway, let's talk a little bit more about what's possible for you. I mean, look, I think Elliot did a good job a minute ago. You can have 20 new families coming in a month per salesperson on your team, especially as you get started. As you begin to scale, which is like grow on purpose is how I think about it, then that number gets a little tighter because at least at first, a lot of them are just going to be referrals, right? It's just going to be referrals as you very first get going with this. So something like 20 new families a month through them. And this is how all of that plays out in terms of money for your firm. Now, not every single person would have 20 when they first start, but this is real numbers based on, and I even had Elliot, when we were prepping our slides, like triple check this. Like this is a number that a lot of firms see a month or so into doing this. I've heard of and know of some who doubled, like they were all of a sudden getting from 10 to 40. I mean, like insane because their lawyer was such a bottleneck. I mean, a lot of this presumes, y'all, that you have sufficient leads coming into your firm, like people interested in talking to you. If you do not, well, that's another problem. That's sort of like a little bit the cart before the horse in some ways. You got to have the phone ringing for this to work because you need all those at-bats. You need 100 new people to make all of these numbers work. If not, that is what Empirical 360 do. I got 99 problems, but new leads to my firm ain't one anymore. And that's been true ever since I started working with Empirical. Highly recommend if you're not already, I know some of these people on here already are working with them, and I'm sure they can agree with me that the lead problem isn't really their number one problem at all anymore. They have other kinds of problems. So we got to make sure the phone's ringing so that then you can make the system work. Because if you're still worried about making the phone ring, right, then you have an upstream problem. Yes, upstream problem. Okay. Now, last little bit here is how to build this team. The first thing you're going to do is you got to recruit them. Okay. We're going to recruit them, train them, manage, and then iterate because it's not going to be perfect and you're going to grow and some wheels are going to come off the bus and things are going to happen. You got to start back over. All right. So recruit them. You want to start paying attention to salespeople in your life. When did you have a good sales experience? Go try to get that person. I basically have tried to recruit every salesperson I've ever had that was any good. I'm always handing out my card trying to recruit people out there in the wild. I one time recruited the guy who sold me my hot tub. And he came to work at the firm. So it'd be great if they have prior experience at a family law firm, probably. But it'd be awesome if they had their own personal family law experience. Like, are you divorced? Was your mama divorced? Child of a divorce? Your sister got divorced? Something, so they have something to relate these people to. I've hired a few young people before who have no connection to family law. That's not my fave because they can't really relate to a daddy calling who hasn't seen his kids in a week because the wife is being crazy and won't let him. Like, how does that feel? Like, they can't relate to that. So I would try to find that. And this is where you can kind of try to find them. All right. Then there's 2 ways to train them. The way that I did it, the sort of see one, do one, ready, set, go. But now, because that was before Claude, AI was nothing. We had not ever heard the words Chat GPT. Back then, we had not even heard the word Zoom yet. It was pre-COVID, all right? So isn't it just interesting how fast life can change? Anyway, you can do your calls, record them, scrub it, have AI make a script based on the way that you do it. And tell it, hey, I took the screenshot of the order of I'm supposed to do these. How do I do this, right? You see what I'm saying? So now with AI as your friend can help you do this so much faster and better. We wrote ours by like hand back at the time. Then you got to manage them like a sales team. This part is where I really suggest you have some support from Empirical 360, or if you're working with a marketing vendor and they don't do all that, I'll say, why? But you're going to need somebody to help you figure out how to manage them like a sales team. All right. Because they are. You got to have huddles, check in, what's in your way, follow up with them weekly, if not daily, and give them coaching. And that's one of the things that they can do is they offer that. I mean, we meet and talk about our sales. We don't use the word sales internally. I mean, I'm telling you all that. We call it the intake team. So we meet. They're having a meeting while this is going on. The rest of my team is having their weekly marketing meeting with another member of Empirical 360 talking about things, right? So you want to manage them. You do role plays, you do their recordings, give them feedback, because y'all, this with your own legal teams. If you ain't managing it and you don't have your eye on the ball, what's going to happen? Not that much, right? So it's just like with anything else. Hopefully you get some real super internally driven, internally motivated sort of people who want to be excellent and do a good job regardless. But this will take part of that from you or somewhere. You probably don't have that time. You're going to need somebody else to help you do this, or figure out a way to learn how to do it yourself, because otherwise this is core to salespeople. You have to manage them and hold their feet to the fire, or they just won't do. Just like all of us. It's like our teams. You got to hold their feet to the fire. Oh, it was really hard for me to bill 73 hours this month. What do you mean you want me to bill double that? I mean, it's just the same idea. And then iterate. Your first time, it may not work out. Give it 60 days. At the 90-day mark, you're kind of seeing, is this person working? And then you just keep at it, right? Just keep at it. Because people say, oh, I tried to do that. People tell me this. I tried to do that, but it didn't work. Oh, really? You tried how many times? Un time. You tried un time. Okay. And then what? It was one person. And it was like 60 days. You gave us 6 months. Did you ever train them? Did you ever try to all of this? And they tell me basically they did nothing. They wanted this person to come in and figure it out. And 6 months later, they didn't. And they didn't take any account. Like, y'all, that ain't going to work. But even so, you can do it 60 days. Give it a go. See if they're the one. If not, move on. Hire slow, fire fast kind of a situation. I kind of hire fast and fire fast. So, and then in a dream world, hire 2 people if you can at the same time, because 1 is the loneliest number in this role. Because then you only have 1. And what if they leave? What if they're great and they leave? What if they stink and they're just telling you, oh, it's really Empirical's fault or Scorpion's fault or whoever's fault? You know what I mean? They didn't give me enough leads, blah, blah, blah. So you need a couple people if possible. And remember, you don't have to have all of their $60,000 a year salary at once in the bank. You just need 60 days or so worth. And remember, you're going to keep billing. So like you only really need a couple weeks worth of money to keep this going. Can you pay them on the next payday? And do you think, can you start to see some results and pay them on the next, right? So we don't want to let every potential hitch in your giddy up stop you from doing it. All right. So now, if you want something like this in your firm, I hope you feel like you got a long way down the road of thinking about this is possible. And maybe breaking some of your assumptions about this. You're on this call, so you're a little bit more inclined to think that this is possible for you. And what Empirical is going to do is allow, like for free, y'all can book a call with them, and they're going to do an intake and sales audit for you on your current system. They will secret shop you. You will probably want to crawl under a hole and die. Like some of these secret shops that I've heard at this conference thing we do, is they, like, people will call and at a divorce law firm, and the person answering the phone when the client says, "Hey, I need to get a divorce." They're like, "Oh, we don't do that here." Click. Like they just didn't feel like doing it that day or whatever. Crazy stuff goes down. So you can book an intake and sales audit with Empirical, and then they'll do a meeting with you and go over the whole thing together. They're super good at figuring out where your bottleneck and where your constraint is. So Elliot, do you have a link for them like to put in chat?
Chat right now.
Yeah.
And the other thing too on this call, once we do the secret shop and the results of what's happened, is I can provide, and I've already done this for some of you actually, I can provide you with some of the scripts that we talked about here and give you more context of how it would fit into your firm. So the 5 keys, I'll have a video that goes along with that as well. And so it can help you. I like to just explain it to you though, so you understand how to use it the right way. I know Hannah just did that, but again, and then I'll give you this recording as well. So
yeah. So y'all grab a spot in Elliot's calendar. I know he's a busy fella, but we need to make sure you get that audit. And hey, if nothing else, you'll sort of know it's good. Look, we don't ask for the truth and then get mad at it. You know, let's get to the truth, figure out what's going on, where are there holes in your bucket at your firm? Where are there opportunities? And hopefully there are some holes in your bucket. I still hope there's holes in my bucket because guess what? That means we can plug them and then get different and better results, right? What's a different set of problems is when everything's kind of going fine, if you're ever in a, like, why is this not working, right? But I imagine you'll find some opportunities for growth, and some opportunities to have a different outcome. So make sure, grab a spot with Elliot to get that audit done, and then you'll walk away with some really helpful information. Here's where you can follow me if we're not friends on LinkedIn and all the places I would love to be. And I'm happy if y'all have questions or things like that. You can send me a message on any of those places, and I'd be happy to think through if you're interested in like figuring out, hey, would this work at my firm? I think it won't for some XYZ reason. Then I am happy to chat with you a little bit about that too. Yeah. And now I think we've got some time for Q&A while y'all all get signed up for your calls. April and Courtney, what you got?
Okay, so the North Carolina State Bar is really picky about nobody can quote a fee except an attorney. So, how would our folks in that initial call, if they say, okay, let's sign you up, how are we going to get around that? Do you just pick up a random amount and say, come in, and if it's custody, or do they, I mean, ideally, I think we need to put them on hold and say, let me go talk to a lawyer. And then they say, okay, talk to a lawyer. It's going to be $5,000. Like, how do they get around that?
Well, and I think it kind of depends a little bit. And I'm sure Elliot, and this is one, April, I know we know Christopher, like on one of his webinars too, he would be the real expert at this. But like, I think, yeah, could you have an on-call? Here's just some ideas. An on-call attorney whose job is to pick up the phone, the Teams, the whatever, whenever that line for that day or that morning, they're on call that morning, and you split it out, and their job is to immediately answer with the fee. Could you also, let's see, yeah, could you also, like give them a checklist of if these, like where you've removed their discretion, if all these things are true, then the fee is this. So a lawyer's already said it. If they vary from this, it would need to be something else. Could you do it like that? Another option, you could perhaps like have the lawyer finalize the fee at that initial strategy session, like the consult part, where you get an initial, deposit, and it becomes the retainer after that initial meeting. So there's some multiple ways to kind of skin that Kat, April, if it was me, I would want to talk to Christopher about that specifically. For that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But he said, April, and again, you can obviously reach out to him, is they pretty much have a menu of things for them. They also do a subscription, so it's a little bit different, but normal divorce with this much in the estate is XYZ. Divorce with custody, high contentious is XYZ, right? So they just have a grading system of their cases, and that's essentially how they will quote the initial retainer. And then different things can add to it, like a restraining order would add some money and stuff like that. But again, that's more of like you're getting into lawyer stuff. I'm just parroting what I've heard.
Yeah. So
But it, but
we
it was
can
done
help
by a
think
lawyer.
that through. Yeah, I would get on Christopher's next thing and ask him. And it may be you need a separate call. Like your state may be super uber specific, right? And then like I have an ethics lawyer in Austin that I work with on all my stuff, all kind of things. And so we had her audit our process and then we made a few tweaks, which it gets on my nerves. I didn't want to make those tweaks, but I less want to be in trouble with the bar. So she audited the process and made some tweaks, but she also knows I'm not just because it's not. And look, the bar is going to be so head deep, elbow deep in this situation, y'all, with AI coming. They're going to have all the bars are going to have to make some adjustments in the way they've done things and the way they are now with what's coming, right? So it's like the bars are often slow. You don't want to like go against them. They're also slow to do this. So I think working with an ethics lawyer in your locality who understands your approach and how you think about things is a really smart idea. And that's what I've done to make sure that I'm on the up and up. I definitely don't ever want the Texas bar after me. That's for sure. So good question. Good question. Any other questions? Did everybody get a call booked? Does anybody not get their call booked? Make sure and get your call booked, y'all. Catherine, yeah, go ahead.
So, do your sales intake people keep time? Do they track their time by call or
No,
anything?
no, though it's sort of you could in a sense of they've done 4 of the consults today and they track all their activities in what's called the CRM, which is the um what does CRM stand for, Elliot?
Client relation manager. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what does that even stand for? CRM, the thing where they track everything. So we have a CRM system. So I could pull anybody's stuff and see what they did today. So in like a way I could track their time, but they are not billing. So yeah, I think, are you worried that they would like be kind of screwing around?
Well, they do some other stuff too. So we have a non-attorney salesperson already that's doing it, and one of our biggest I shared with Elliot yesterday is he tends to want to give legal advice.
Yeah, you got to watch them. So
It's
we've
really
been in
tough
that
because
pickle.
he knows
Yep.
he's been doing it for 11 years, and
But
it's
here's some things. There's a bunch of stuff he don't know. You know how you do
I
this with them? So
know.
like throw a thorny legal issue at him about personal jurisdiction and a case calls from Florida. And we always get calls from Florida all the time. And here's all the reason why you don't know. And what you do, and this is not easy, but what gets man you can manage what you measure, right? So it's like looking at those calls, doing spot checks. I've had to put somebody on a full probation and a letter from the ethics lawyer about not giving legal advice. And if you do it again, I will fire you. So, like, it also takes a little bit of the courage of your conviction. If he's still doing that and you can't stop him, that's probably a management situation. And the other thing I would say to like what you weren't even asking me about, but these people doing other things, you may have this idea, I'll have someone who does this and that. I'll just go ahead and tell you that is not a good idea, in my opinion, because then they're going to do this when either one of their jobs is not done right. Y'all know that. It's like the paralegal who's also the office person, like doing 2 things. They're not going to do either one great. And that's not necessarily be ugly about them. It's hard to ride 2 horses with one butt. So like I think that that would be another thing to think about. So thank you, Catherine, for your
And real
question.
quick, you record everything, all of their calls are
On the
recorded.
Zooms and stuff, yeah, the default is that it's recorded. And it says that I think when they start the call. I mean, the client obviously knows that, the potential new client. But yeah, that's the default. Now, do they do it 1000% of the time? Probably not. It's somebody on my team's job to handle that and make sure that it's happening. But like in person, that's not getting recorded. But that's why it's a spot check situation and making sure that they don't do it and just be like, look, it sucks. I want you probably need to recruit another non-attorney salesperson so you don't have one as the loneliest number. Because right now, if you come down too hard, they might get mad, they might walk, and you don't have that person anymore. So you probably need to hire you another one right now. So put the ad up today.
Okay. That's why she
Imagine.
was here. I had somebody else here.
Yeah.
I'm
Cool.
working on number 2.
Okay, good for you. Good for you. Okay, we have like 1 minute left.
Sorry.
Everybody, make sure grab your spot with Elliot. You want to get that audit. It's super valuable. I've seen what they do. It was surprising when they did audit on me. I had some problems. So you want to make sure you get that and connect on all the socials. I probably have time for one more. Does anybody have one more question before we go?
April,
Good.
your hand up? Is that hand up or is that left up?
Still left up, I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Cool. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for coming. I'm so glad to see all your faces. I hope that we can connect and stay connected. And thanks for spending an hour. I'm so excited for each of you. The potential that there is doing this changed my entire life. I'll just say that. Like the amount of money that I'm able to make from my firm now, like I sent my daughter to college and paid a check. And I never dreamed, y'all don't know my whole story, but I'm divorced. My parents didn't go to college. I'm the first person in my family, $200,000 in student loan debt, got divorced in the middle of it. Okay, lots of things. So to be able to have paid for my kids to go to college kind of wherever they want, I really have to thank to this process and working with Empirical 360. So I want that for each of you. And it really is possible. I am not a unicorn about this. I am just the person on the call today, but I know a lot of other people who've done the exact same thing. And this is the little hinge that can kind of swing big doors for you. So if you want to talk about how that can work in your life and your family, reach out to me on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever. And I'll be happy to chat with y'all. So thank you so much for coming and for spending this time together.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.